elected president. I am sure that you are very informed about
That
this.
you elected president.
Mr. Bridget Pasol, the one you met yesterday.
Yes, yes. This is a, is it on camera? No, I'm just kidding.
No, this is our interview.
No, I'm just kidding. No. No, he's truly he has a very good heart. I know, I read about it, there's some, things in the media. See, we have to get over that. When I look at you, I have to look over what can you do to help this country. Let's not get lost in the details of who's doing what and what are you good at and what you're not. He's definitely well respected. He's the richest man in Kosovo. He's definitely has a lot of connections. You don't become rich by just sitting there and happen to be rich. You don't get your degree by you sitting on the chair. You work very hard to get your degree. And this is only one step. Can you imagine going many steps? The president is extremely capable, extremely smart. Now he's worked, part of his life with the Russians, of course. And this has nothing to do with the focus on Kosovo. So we have high respect for him. He's a great guy.
Let me add this, like when President Obama won in the United States. It's our obligation as American people to pray for that president, all of us, to hope for the best. I might not want him to get reelected, but I want him to be the best president that he can be for all the people. Because every president, every man, every woman, when they are elected, they have strengths and weaknesses. It's up to you to help your president, help your prime minister, help your members of parliament to be the most effective that they can be. That doesn't mean that you will vote for them on the next election. But it's good for Kosovo that your leaders work together. Look at a man and a woman's positives. Understand that we all have weaknesses. And don't be tearing down one another. Don't build yourself up by tearing down another man. Build yourself up by doing what is good and what is right. And let that speak for itself.
Somebody else? Question or remark or comment?
Thank you for being courageous to ask. This is great.
I'm an economics major, so I have a question related to economics. Right now, we are going through major economics projects, like we have the highway, we have the increase in salaries. What do you think? I don't know how much informed you are about these policies that our government is undertaking, but I would like your opinion. How do you think this is going to affect economic growth and the budget for the next few years?
That's a question for the minister, I guess.
Yes. Can you summarize it quicker, because we didn't hear a couple of it. Go ahead.
We are undertaking some big economic projects like the highway, which is going to cost a lot, and the increase in salaries. Well, how do you think this is going to affect economic growth and the budget for the next few years?
Let me answer this very, very clearly. When I was governor of the state of South Carolina, we had an economic downturn. Our unemployment rate was the worst in the United States. Within 2 years, our unemployment rate was the best in the United States. Our personal income growth was the best in the United States. How did we turn it around? Roads and bridges, infrastructure, water and sewer are absolutely critical for your economic development. If a company cannot get their product and their services in and out quickly, you will not compete against Albania, you will not compete with Macedonia, you will not compete with Bulgaria or Serbia. You have got to get infrastructure. You must have the best of the best. We put together a team, we put together a strategic plan, we honestly evaluated our strengths and our weaknesses. You must know your weaknesses better than you know your strengths, because it's the weaknesses that your competitors will overcome against you. So be honest with yourselves. Don't stick your head in the sand. You don't have a port for shipping. Okay, that's a weakness. Okay, well, let's overcome it by doing more of other things. Better roads and bridges. Infrastructure for airports to get products flown in and out. These type of things. But education, job training, fundamental. A BMW won't come to Kosovo if Even if you give them the land, even if you give them the building, even if you give them tax breaks, if they can't get a qualified workforce that's loyal, they can make a first-class car. South Carolina is now the home of BMW, Honda, Michelin, Bridgestone, Firestone, Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies from all over the world, because we met and worked with the businesses who now, because we believe that the private sector is critical, we have less people on welfare, less people on the government payroll, and now private sector experiencing freedom and liberty and taking care of their own children. Now, do we differ and fuss about how that approach should be between Democrats and Republicans? Yes, we do. But by and large, most Democrats and Republicans in the United States agree with private sector is we must help them grow so that you can take your own dream and do something with it. So policies like that are very, very important.
We need a microphone because you're close by.
My name is Arben. I'm from first generation, A.U.K. first generation, a former KBR employee. I was deployed in Iraq for around 4 years. And my question has to do with upcoming negotiations that we're going to have with Serbia right now. What would be your suggestion? What should be the Kosovo's government stance towards this negotiation? Because Europeans have different view on it and Americans have different view on it. Because this is going to be really critical for our future.
Let me say very clearly that we are here with no official authority, no official capacity. We are not here to endorse anyone's ideas over anyone else's. We're here to promote people working together. When we leave here, we will go to Serbia. We will meet with the leaders as we have met here with your Prime Minister, your President, your ministers, your members of Parliament. And we don't promote any idea except the ideal that Brian and Moser and Larry and Amit live. And that is love your enemy, love one another, sit down and talk. Put your past behind you and move forward. Think not of yourself, but think of your country. President John F. Kennedy, in the famous presidential inaugural address, said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country." That doesn't necessarily mean your government. That means people. And so we are going to encourage dialogue. We're going to encourage a good heart. Treaties, as we have learned in the past, because we've all been involved with Middle East and other nations of conflict, when treaties are reached based upon convenience, they don't last long. But when they're reached because the hearts come together, it'll overcome problems that develop in the future. So we ask the Serbs, we ask the Kosovars to come together in the heart, respect one another, and love one another. Just like Amit and Slobodan has been a model into the United States, a model for the Balkans, how you can come together and love one another. And that's what we ask of you. We ask you and the Serbs to do the same thing. Now we'll talk, and listen to these issues because they are important to people, but it's not for us to judge. We're here to push people together.
And if I may add one thing, you've seen what happens in the Middle East. The fall of Tunisia, the fall of Iraq, Egypt, Libya, many others. And you know how this all started? It started with one person and talking to another, and it ignited. And how did Egypt all start? Egypt, this is the strongest Arabic democracy in the Middle East. It started with young people like you talking on phones and internets and Twittering and messaging to each other. They learned from the other country, from Tunisia, what the mistakes they made. And they learned it and they did it. And it's gone. I mean, if you told somebody 2 months ago that this will happen in Egypt, everybody will tell you impossible to happen. So you can reach to the other side also. And what the governor said is so important. I know it's hard because you think of the negative things and we're not advocating Serbian or, as the governor said, or Albanian. We're advocating being together. Open your heart and forgive the other person. Hate and anger is negative energy. You need to be positive. Reach to the other side, even indirectly. And I know when we talk here, even people with Serbs, yeah, they go like this. This is negative. These are your neighbors. You have to live with them.
And be careful about political propaganda, because political propaganda isn't always true. At the same time, hold your leaders accountable to a higher standard. Many of us have sat down with some of the leaders that have been deposed, and over the past 4 or 5 years has very seriously and clearly advocated you must do more for your people. Greed and corruption is a very, very bad thing. I don't care what party or religion you're in. If leaders will do what's best for the people, that's what you want and I want. And I think what's happened in the Middle East is because leaders have gotten greedy. Not all. Some have gotten greedy. Some have gotten corrupt. And the people have risen up. And the young people have been very, very outspoken in reaching out, using these new technologies to make a difference. Now the question is going to be, what do you do with it? Don't gain power for the sake of having power. That's an evil thing. Look for this power to do good things. That's an honorable thing.
Gentlemen, I would like to thank you for visiting our university. I'd like to thank our students also for participating here, and I look forward to welcoming you back to Kosovo on other occasions this time.